Hi, it is the great Vanzini once again. The greatness has nothing to do with my playing, I assure you. I thought I'd do something kind of weird, and I don't know if I can pull it off or not, because I haven't really tested it out. I came up with a chord progression, and I asked myself, I did it, it was kind of a jazzy, bluesy chord progression, and I kind of asked myself, is this something I could do in some other style, make it more of a pop rock style? And that didn't come out too bad. And then I thought, well, maybe I could go really extra heavy and make it really a rock style. So I thought I would try that, and so I created a soundtrack on Band in the Box as a backing track, and I just changed the style from jazzy blues to rock, pop rock to I don't remember what the third one was, heavy rock or something like that. And so I have no clue if I'm going to pull this off or not. So I thought I'd just do it, probably use 3 different guitars. I'll identify the guitars. This is a Gretsch, I don't remember, 21, 24? 2420. It's a 2420. And you can look up the stats on this guitar on one of my very first videos on the Gretsch Streamliner 2420 with a Bigsby. I'll put it up. Does it go on that side? Or does it go on this side? Somewhere up here. And I'll put a link to that. And that's the only difference between this guitar and that guitar, is that this one doesn't have a Bigsby. So it wants to be, and I've never quite decided what I want to do. Do I want it to be a strummer or a rockabilly kind of? Probably not hearing that very well. Or a jazz box. And I thought, well, I've got jazz boxes and I've got rockabilly guitar and I've got this and I've got that. So I'm still undecided. I think I'm going to put lightweight flat wounds on it, so it's going to be somewhere between something I can use for rock and something I can use for more jazzy things. So we're going to try one song, a chord progression I came up with, and it's not my best chord progression. And the chord progression is real simple. It's F sharp minor, A and B. It's kind of a 1-4-5, but there's 3 chords in the 1 and the 4. When it goes to the 2 or the 4 chord, then we go down to a B minor and a D and an E. Could be sevenths. Back to an F sharp minor, A, B, and F sharp minor, and A and B. Somewhere in there it goes to the 5 chord, which is a C sharp. In this case, I'm making it a C sharp 7th sharp 9. You've heard that. That's an old Hendrix thing. I tried a little recording earlier, and this thing came out so bassy. Normally I would play it almost always on the neck pickup, and it just was so bassy and boomy that. So I've got to do some. I got to do some things, I think. But for recording purposes, I'm going to have it on the bridge pickup. And so, join me in this journey, because I have no idea where it's going to go. I have no idea how it's going to end up, and I won't torture you with the whole song, but I will torture you with bits and pieces of the song. One song in 3 different styles, probably 3 different guitars. We'll see. Real simple minor pentatonic. There's the C sharp. Hi, I'm back. And so we're ready for part 2 of trying to take one song, one chord progression, and do it in 3 different styles. I'm really not convinced I'm going to succeed in this at all, but it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a little bit of a journey. Look at this. Look at that, huh? That's a Rockstar energy drink guitar. And there's a whole story behind that. I'll do a show and tell on it. It's actually kind of cool, and I got it. I should change the title of my channel to Guitars on the Cheap, because that's what I'm always looking for, and this is an example of that. So it's one of those Sterling Music Man thingies. So we're going to do that same song, and actually at the same speed and the same chord progression, but I just changed the styles in Band in the Box so it's a little bit more rock and rolly. And I don't know if I have this thing set right or not. We will see. So we'll, I don't know. We'll hopefully find a snippet on that song that came through, but and I'll do a show and tell on this glorious thing later. So we're on to part 3, which and I haven't picked a style on that yet. I got to go back to my computer and change. I got to take that chord progression and change it up into something yet again slightly different. We'll see how it does. We'll go from there. Follow me on this journey. How in the hell did they do that? Jesus Louises. I don't know. Oh, hi. I'm back. We keep trying to do this chord progression in different styles. It gets harder and harder and harder. This time I thought for this I'd pull this sucker out. This was a flea market find for dirt cheap. It is an Ibanez RG220. And I thought I should have a guitar with this Floyd Rose thingy that all you kids are talking about. All those darn kids are talking about it. It's been around for ages. I thought Floyd Rose was some old guy who died years ago, and then he was at NAMM here a few weeks ago, and somebody interviewed him. Was it Tone King? And I realized, gee, I think I might have a couple of years on Floyd Rose. He looked pretty spry. So. Anyway, I bought this some years ago as a just because I wanted something with a Floyd Rose, because I knew nothing about him. I've stayed away from him all my life. We're going to do that same chord progression, and remember, wow, it's really hard to control this beast with I have it set on an amp setting called Core Metal, but normally it was an F sharp minor. I think I was using a 7th. A and B, and then the second part was B minor, 7th, and then D and E, and then the 5 chord was a C sharp, 7th, sharp 9. And not exactly a metal progression. But it's also not the best chord progression I've ever laid out or come up with, so I'm sure it's been done by other people probably properly, probably done really well. But I thought we would just try that same chord progression. The difference is when I did it in Band in the Box this time, I got rid of the minor sevenths. I actually got rid of the minors. I just kept it with power chords, so now it's down to like just an F sharp and a C sharp. The second part is just a B and an F sharp. We're still keeping that C sharp 7th sharp 9. Because that chord sounds good. It can be used in jazz. Jimmy used it, you know. It's been around. First time we ever heard it was when Jimmy used it. I don't think I'd ever heard it before that. So here we go. Let's give this a try. Go on this journey with me, if you will. I make no promises. That was I hope you enjoyed that. That was an attempt at one chord progression using 3 different styles, and the only difference, the chords are exactly the same, except I got rid of the minors and the sevenths and all that stuff for this last one, this sort of metalish one, and just use power chords. And I'll do a show and tell on this too, because now that I brought it out and played it, I'm kind of impressed with its ability. I know nothing of Floyd Rose's, and I'm sure this isn't a real Floyd Rose. It's probably an Ibanez version of one or something like that. I don't know. But it's an RPG? No, that's not right. RG 220. So yeah, I'll do a show and tell on that. Pretty impressive that you can kind of get away with some murder on these things. A little bit impressive. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Any comments are welcome. I mean, this was just me fooling around and saying, you know, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to see what I can come up with and see if I can do something in 3 different styles. I don't know how successful I was, but to me it's always about food for thought. You know, that maybe there's something there if you hear some little chord progression and you say, you know, that would be kind of cool done a different way. And a fine example of that is look here on YouTube and look up the original version of Walk Don't Run by Johnny Smith. It's a jazz song, and it's kind of almost got a Latin feel or something. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's been a while since I listened. But it's a very different version, and somewhere along the line when I was a little kid, the Ventures came along and said, oh, that's a cool song, we can take that and play it in a straight fashion and we'll call it surf music and we'll have a big hit, you know. And they did, and they played it in a totally different version, and I've heard it played any number of different ways. So that's a good example of it. There's probably 1,000 others that I can't think of. If you can think of any others of old songs or songs that are played and kind of written in one style and then covered by somebody else in a completely different style, write it down below. I'd love to hear about that. And I've heard 1,000 different ones. I just can't think of any right now. And probably with some of the newer songs that are out there now, there's probably 1,000 more. So I enjoy cover tunes that are done wrong, that are done completely different than the original. I think if you're trying to if you're trying to duplicate the original, you better be darn good and you better nail it. And otherwise change it up, so make it yours. And then it has a different sound, and who knows, maybe that'll be the big hit for next year. So until the next time, folks, that's the Great Vanzini with Fun with Chords. Fun with Chords. I think this is number 3. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.